Let's talk about the fact that Democrats have been labeling President Trump a to democracy for the better half of 10 years. Let's talk about how they have compared him to one of the worst mass in the history of the world, and that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden weaponized the court system and the justice system in this country against Donald Trump in an attempt to imprison him. He sat through a courthouse for 7 weeks this past year, and the Democrats were hoping he would go to jail for it. That is real political that has led to 2 heinous attempts on President Trump's life that, by the grace of God, he was able to escape, and he is here with us today. So yes, President Trump knows a little bit about political because he's experienced it himself. In talking about the tragic realities of war that Liz Cheney and her father Dick Cheney have got this country into is not political. It's talking about the reality of the foreign conflicts that the Washington, D.C. establishment have sold out young Americans to for decades.
Joy Behar has crossed the line once again, and this time there's no turning back. On a recent episode of The View, she shocked audiences with a remark that sparked widespread accusations of sexism. Her target, Karoline Leavitt, Donald Trump's 27-year-old press secretary. Behar insinuated that Leavitt secured her position solely because of her looks, stating, "I think she's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. This comment ignited outrage across the political spectrum, not just among conservatives. Why such a strong reaction? Because Behar, a self-proclaimed feminist who frequently advocates for women's empowerment, reduced a young political strategist to nothing more than her appearance. This wasn't just an insult to Leavitt, it was a slap in the face to every woman striving to succeed on merit alone. Critics immediately called out Behar's blatant hypocrisy. How can someone who claims to champion women's achievements demean another woman in such a superficial manner? Social media erupted in backlash. One user summed up the sentiment perfectly. Joy Behar accuses Karoline Leavitt of being hired for her looks. Isn't this the very sexism The View supposedly stands against? But Karoline Leavitt didn't take it lying down. Many expected her to ignore or sidestep the controversy, but instead she fought back with facts, grace, and undeniable confidence. She didn't just respond, she dismantled Behar's accusation, turning the tables completely. By the end of the exchange, it was Behar who seemed unsettled. Even The View co-host Whoopi Goldberg appeared taken aback by Leavitt's poised and commanding rebuttal. Leavitt's refusal to let Goldberg derail the conversation was both refreshing and impactful. Instead of being silenced, she used Goldberg's interruptions to amplify her points. Viewers noticed. Social media was ablaze with praise for how Leavitt maintained her composure, with many calling it one of the most powerful moments in recent televised political debates. But Leavitt didn't stop there. She exposed The View's hypocrisy, calling out the show's selective stance on women's empowerment. The View loves to claim they're all about lifting women up, she pointed out. But the second a woman doesn't align with their leftist ideology, they demean her in the exact way they claim to oppose. Her statement wasn't just an observation, it was a scathing critique of The View's history of attacking conservative women like Kayleigh McEnany and Sarah Huckabee Sanders. By calling out this double standard, Leavitt forced viewers to reconsider whether The View truly supports all women or only those who share its political beliefs. The situation escalated further when Whoopi Goldberg launched into a fiery rant about wokeness. She passionately defended it as a force for societal progress, but overlooked a key point. Wokeness has increasingly become a divisive ideology. Instead of fostering constructive conversation, Goldberg chose to lecture Leavitt in a condescending tone, suggesting she lacked an understanding of history and social advancements. Ironically, this behavior exemplified why many critique wokeness in the first place. It often comes across as elitist and dismissive. But this incident wasn't just about one heated debate. The fallout was monumental. The View faced not just criticism, but outright humiliation. Rather than undermining Leavitt, they discredited themselves. Footage of Behar's sexist remark and Leavitt's powerful response went viral, sparking a social media firestorm. Users across the political spectrum denounced The View's bias and hypocrisy. Even those who disagreed with Leavitt politically admitted that Behar's comments were inappropriate and praised Leavitt for her poise and sharp handling of the situation. The controversy didn't stay confined to social media, it spread to mainstream media as well. Major outlets covered The View's latest scandal, highlighting its growing credibility problems. Meanwhile, behind the scenes at ABC, tensions were reportedly escalating. Insider sources suggested that ABC executives were caught completely off guard by the backlash and were far from pleased. According to one source, there's growing concern about whether it's worth keeping Joy Behar on the show, given the PR nightmares her controversial remarks continue to create. While controversy is part of The View's brand, there's a fine line between sparking debate and alienating viewers. And this time, they've massively crossed it. Ratings have already been on the decline, and incidents like this only make matters worse. Advertisers, too, are reportedly growing uneasy, questioning whether The View is still the right platform for their brands. An ABC insider hinted at the possibility of major shakeups, suggesting that Behar's position might not be as secure as she once thought. But this isn't just about Joy Behar. It highlights a much larger issue within today's media landscape. The treatment of Karoline Leavitt on The View is part of a broader trend in how conservative women are handled by mainstream media. Time and again, articulate, accomplished conservative women, whether it's Kayleigh McEnany, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, or Elise Stefanik, are brushed aside, insulted, or outright discredited simply for their political beliefs. Platforms like The View claim to support women's empowerment, but their actions tell a different story. Instead of engaging in meaningful debates or acknowledging the achievements of women they disagree with, they resort to personal attacks and patronizing rhetoric. This double standard doesn't just hurt the individuals targeted, it undermines the very principles of feminism and equality that these media outlets claim to champion. The backlash against The View proves that audiences are waking up to this hypocrisy, and they're not staying silent anymore. Karoline Leavitt didn't just defend herself, she exposed a glaring issue in today's media. She used their attack as an opportunity to highlight the biased treatment of conservative voices in spaces that are supposed to value diversity and empowerment. With ABC in full damage control mode and viewers demanding accountability, one thing is clear. The View is facing a reckoning, and Joy Behar might just be the first casualty.